I did it. I reported the oppressive abuser of power, state trooper, canine dog handler, loser, moron, criminal. I reported him to the FBI, as you can see here. Thought I already did that, but I guess I don't think I did actually. This is what I said. You can only I think they only gave you like 500 characters to use, and I used all of them. Suspect discriminated against the victim based on the existence of, I could have taken out the word though there. Based on the existence of victim's mental health diagnosis, just the existence of it, not even what, he didn't even know what it was. Just because I have PTSD, then that gets lumped into all the other mental health diagnoses where people are actually crazy, but mine's not. Doesn't mean I'm crazy. It means that I'm basically like post-traumatic stress, so it's more of just emotional. It's not about mental. As people don't understand PTSD, and so because I'm a victim of crime, I stand up for myself. Then that's what they discriminate based on. They look at the parties, like, oh, she's she's an elder woman, she's retired doctor, but she's like a short as shit, like old, her brain's it doesn't work right. She's deranged, and she abuses stimulants, and she was obviously violating my rights and the law. Every time she walked her dog past my house, and so the cop just discriminated against me based on that. I didn't even do anything. There was nothing dangerous or threatening. All my actions were in accordance with law and decency, and it was to instill decency in the neighborhood because she was a criminal, so I was trying to stop criminal behavior. But because I don't wear a badge and I'm not buddies with all these fucking gay ass police, then when I actually do something to enforce law, then I get seen, discriminated against. There was no probable cause whatsoever, and that's what the law requires. And so when you report the FBI, it has to be like a federal law that's violated, and basically a violation of Fourth Amendment, also being discriminated against, federally protected health characteristic. So he violated that, discriminated me, and then he also violated my Fourth Amendment right by pointing a taser at my head, even when I was just sitting there talking to them. And so there was nothing, there was no dangerous situation whatsoever. And it wasn't even an investigation. It was totally botched, biased. They didn't even give me a chance to defend myself. They didn't even accuse me of anything to defend myself against. They had, they lied to me and on forums, and their stories don't even corroborate. Suspect had no proof of allegations against victim. Suspect committed unwarranted hospitalization, discrimination, false public alarm, denial of rights, interference with personal autonomy to make healthcare decisions, and oppression. And I'm pretty sure he did something else. Besides victim is permanently traumatized by suspect's heinous crime. Suspect also cited falsified FBI report about victim. FBI committed false public alarm, leading to suspect's delusions of possibility of any threat and suspect's subsequent discriminatory and illegal action. So basically, the FBI came to my house one day because I made a Facebook post, which I don't mess with Facebook anymore because that's literally just like FBI, like Facebook informant, FBI right there. So that's all it is. It's just they're just trying to tap into your brain and see everything that you're thinking about. And then, so I don't fuck with FBI, Facebook. Also because, nobody gives a shit about my thoughts, and then they don't deserve to know what I think about. Trying to enlighten and amuse people, but everybody's too concentrated on trivial bullshit to, anyway, but, yeah. So yeah, I wrote a joke that was later even used in SNL, like I think a couple months later, maybe a year later. But Keenan said it, and it just mentioned ISIS, and it was just basically comparing, the people that are next to him, comparing them to ISIS, saying that those people are so like, off-putting that it makes ISIS seem desirable, not as off-putting, not desirable anyway. That's like the whole thing, is that just because you mention ISIS, then the FBI thinks like, that's like a one of the words that's in their algorithm that then they get sent notification of, oh, he said this word, but they don't even look at the context. And so it was literally a joke what I said. I said, Mainers are so like such trashy, evil people that ISIS is like better in comparison. Something to that effect. Actually, I know exactly what I said, but I don't want to say it again. But I'll just tell you basically that's what the effect is. And then if you're curious, you can go watch the SNL episode, and it's like, there's the skit where Keenan's like a bartender, and then that was when Kristen Wiig was still pretty sure she was still on the cast, and they had the guest, and then they were just like acting all like overly and weirdly, oddly, like hypersexual towards each other. And he's just like witnessing it and stuff, and he's just like, I'd rather be, I'm not gonna say it, but you can watch it. That's basically where it is, and that's exactly like word for word my joke that I wrote. And then so the FBI came to my door, entered my house without a warrant or anything, without even asking, without me like letting them in. They just walked in like it was their house. And then they're like, oh, what's this ISIS comment? I'm like, it was just a joke. And then they just like ask all these other questions, like, oh, you ever thought about hurting anybody? And then I did, because that year that they came was like 2017, I think. Yeah. Or no, 2018? I think it was 2018. Yeah. Or I don't know, but and yeah, like my previous boss, like in Maine it's a seasonal work, and so there's no work in the winter, and then but like the economy doesn't like have any compassion for that, but are like customarily in Maine for seasonal workers you get unemployment benefits during the winter. But my boss was like an evil sack of shit. He's like this gay man, and so like that just tips you off that his brain doesn't work correctly. How are you going to be attracted to the same sex? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? But anyway, that's my personal opinion. Anybody who's attracted to the same sex, that's like literally a mental illness, and that's what it used to be considered until the gays rewrote the fucking mental health diagnostic manual. But anyway, so he's this crazy like abuser of power, and it was literally like 2 weeks until the end of the season in November. It was like November 16th or something, and I was a cook, and yeah, and then he just like fired me, and then he lied about the reason. Like you don't have to have good reason to fire, but you have to have good reason if you want to deny them unemployment. And that's when LePage was still governor, and so Governor like LePage was like basically telling all the agencies to make decisions in favor of employers so that they don't have to pay unemployment, and nobody has to pay like for SNAP benefits and stuff. And so basically just completely like deny people benefits, like all this federally granted tax, this money and these funds. And then LePage was like, no, we need to hoard it, so don't administer it, and then so we'll just like make decisions in favor of employers. And so they just lie. And so that was traumatizing, because I had no money, and I was not fired for any good reason. He just fired me and then lied about it. And then I went to the hearings and stuff, and then the guy who conducted the hearings, literally he was the guy who was the whistleblower telling, who told a newspaper that LePage told them to, about this scheme, this discrimination scheme. And then he's the one, literally the guy, who was doing my case, my hearing, against my evil, corrupt, lying sack of shit, former employer. And so I got denied food stamps, I got denied unemployment benefits, and there's no work in the winter. So you think that's not going to be traumatizing? And so that guy literally committed economic abuse, which is a crime. And then he had the government, to help him do it. So I wanted to take his kneecaps out with a bat. But that's when I was younger, and I was willing to, take, I had revenge, a revenge type. I never did anything, but it would just I would obsess about it. But I'm a pacifist. I never did anything. I'm never violent. So just because I let these FBI in on my thought process, then they thought that they could label me as a threat, and then they falsified their report saying that I had a plan to hurt somebody. And then they didn't even write the right name down. They wrote some totally wrong name. The guy's name, I'm not going to tell you, but it starts with a D, and then the guy's name they wrote down was started with an M. And it was and that's all they wrote in the report, because I told them I was pacifist, and that was years ago, before they were asking me questions. And that wasn't even why they were there. They were there because of the ISIS comment. And then they just tried to set me up or whatever, stage me. And they said, oh, he had a plan. That's all they wrote. He had a plan to hurt this person, which was false and misleading, and it was omitting all the other shit I said, which is I would never do anything, I'm a pacifist, all this other stuff. And then all they wrote was, he had a plan. So don't talk to these fucking anybody. All they do is violate, they just try to set you up and lie and twist facts and distort testimony. And that was when Trump was president. And so, when Trump talks about abusing the FBI for his own personal grievances, he did that to me. He said the FBI, all I did was just mention ISIS. He was like, oh. And then they fucking falsify a report about me, and then the fucking trooper Chris Smith reads that, and it's had no relevance to the situation, because when I had that thought, it was 2017, and then when I told the FBI, it was 2018, and then when Trooper Chris Smith came to discriminate against me and to commit all these crimes against me, that was 2019. So it was all these years had passed, and it was there was nothing. I'd never been violent. And then he's trying to say that because I told the FBI about my thought process, that means that I'm a threat. When all I did was ever use my voice, my First Amendment right, which is the most fundamental, primary right. It's the most basic, human activity, to just speak your mind. And so you can see here, submission successful. That fucking asshole violated all my rights and traumatized me. Because the FBI's paranoid, they committed false public alarm. Then this guy's paranoid and committed false public. They're all trying to say that I have the mental health issues, but the fucking government is the one who's paranoid and delusional. They're the schizos. Because they're fucking using their AI algorithms that are totally fucking not perfected, and they're fallible and discriminatory. And basically we need to defund the police because they just abuse power. They're not protecting or serving anybody. They're just going out there, guns drawn, using excessive force and discriminating instead of like protecting and serving. Just observe the situation or respond accordingly. Don't go in there with your own biases and your own aspirations to do harm. That's what these fucking assholes do, man. They get off on committing false public alarm because they're the ones with the power. The pen is mightier than the revolution. I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to say, if I don't fucking hear from these people, the FBI, then I will continue making videos about how much I hate America because literally nobody is standing up for my rights. Except me. And when I do, then I get told that I'm not allowed to stand up for my rights. Even though I literally took the fucking oath when I was in the Navy. Like pretty much every day, I swear to defend the Constitution, democracy all around the world and all this crap. But then when I try to use my rights that are endowed by the Constitution, nope, that's a complete lie. You're just there, when you're in the military, you're just there to serve capital interests, not any, noble cause of anything. Okay.